Florida Broker Roundtable meeting. Before how proud we are to now offer a ton of amazing free marketing tools to all of our agents through agentmarketing.com. And I'm sorry, I have a PowerPoint presentation here on the screen. There it is. This would not be possible without all of you and your outstanding amount of agent referrals to AJI. As Allison James continues to grow with agents referring other agents to our brokerage, we will be able to provide more of these free tools. You can also earn a monthly or yearly residual payment simply by referring other agents to work with AJI. If you have between 1 and 3 agents you have referred, you will be paid 10% of the agent's plan fee, and this does include 10% of the transaction fee for Plan C. Once you have referred 4 or more agents, this increases to 15% across the board. There's no heavy lifting involved on your part. All you need to do is contact our National Director of Growth and Development, Jeff Jabora, with the contact information of an agent who you would like to refer over to Allison James. And also, I would like to mention that starting this Thursday, August 6th, we will be hosting a weekly online social media mastermind class. This webinar will be no longer than 10 minutes, and I will be showing everyone a new app or tool every week. All of these will be recorded as well. During the first session, I will be showing everyone a Google Chrome extension, Reportive, which syncs your Gmail contacts and lets you know if they have a LinkedIn account, what their job title is, their picture pulls up, so you can connect with your contacts through email. So this is going to be a great thing, which we will be starting this week, and check for an upcoming email to register for our first session. And Robert, I will go ahead and pass it over to you now. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Victoria. All of those slides look very exciting. I'm looking forward to the social media mastermind. That looks awesome.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. So quickly this morning, guys, it's Monday. I know you've got a lot of houses to sell. It's going to be a busy week, and half of us in the state of Florida look like we're underwater. I actually saw it. I mean, this weather the last couple of weeks has been crazy. They're evacuating people in the Tampa area this morning. I mean, it's just pretty wild what's going on there. So I don't want to take a whole lot of time here, but I just want to raise some awareness on some of the CFPB changes that we've discussed in the past. The deadline for whenever they're transitioning into the new requirements has been extended to October, but there are some legal responsibilities that we have as realtors that we need to be aware of, and there are some changes that are on the contracts coming up to reflect the changes. So I just wanted to raise some awareness on what some of the important changes are, mostly going to be dealing with the time periods and time horizons that we need to watch out for. They're going to be making a couple simple changes to both the regular residential contract for sale and the as-is companion to that contract. So the new forms are going to be used for anybody purchasing a home or any of your listings that you're receiving offers on. Try to make sure that you're watching out for these new contracts that are, and they should be used on or after October 3rd. So, there's some important requirements that are not going to be covered in the previous versions of these contracts. So going forward from October 3rd, make sure that you have switched to these new contracts. And we will be sending out a link after this webinar with some more information so that you can study up on it a little bit and download these contracts and get ready for that. So the main issue that this is going to be dealing with is going to be the extension of the closing date. The provision that has now been made in the FARBAR contract, which is our preferred contract, is that if the CFPB period, the time period, is not lining up properly and there's a little bit of extra time that's required, the contract now is expanded to enable a period of up to 10 days to meet the CFPB regulation. So if by chance your closing date is scheduled at the end of the month and the CFPB regulations have not been satisfied in an extra few days, up to 10 days is required to meet the CFPB regulation, that is something that the new contract allows for, that you do not have to do anything special automatically. So that's something as you're coordinating closing dates, if you're on the seller side, they're moving your stuff out, whatever the case is, these are ramifications that I think you should certainly be aware of and make provision for and study up on. The other big change, and this is the one that can potentially get people into a little bit of trouble, that in the financing contingency now on the new contract, the provision for the financing contingency, if you remember, currently it says that you're paying cash or are getting a loan but are not making your contract contingent upon getting that loan. Well, the new provision no longer specifies that the buyer may obtain a loan. The new language is added to clarify that if you're financing your transaction and more CFPB time is required to close, that you are basically not going to be granted an extension. So that could make, if you're working with an investor who gets private loans, or for whatever reason decide to use that mechanism where you do not make it contingent on financing and you're checking the cash box. If for whatever reason the CFPB time period is not going to basically be fulfilled on the closing date, you could potentially make your buyer vulnerable to lose their escrow deposit and nullify the contract and lose the deal altogether. So that is something that is obviously going to have massive ramifications depending on what situation that you find yourself in, and something to certainly be aware of. So those are the two significant changes. There's a couple other tiny little incidental things for delivery of title, for surveys. There's a couple other little incidental things that you can read up about on a link that we're going to send out. But that is the primary changes that you should certainly be aware of. And then I'm going to change topics a little bit. The other areas that in our little broker roundtable review here that I'd just like to brush up on a little bit is number one, branch offices. I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that of what the requirements and how the branch office that we utilize around the state work. So if you're independently leasing any space and you are meeting customers at that space, you will need to register that as a branch office. And that's really important to know. We have to have proper signage at these locations. We need to have proper insurance for liability. So, and there's just some other things to consider there. So I know that as far as I'm aware, most everybody's compliant, but I've had a couple inquiries recently where some agents were interested in potentially leasing new space and opening up an office. They did or didn't necessarily want to hold it open to the public and meet customers there. But if you have any questions regarding branch offices, certainly reach out to us, and we'll make sure that you're going down the right path with that. So, again, I don't want to take up a tremendous amount of time here. I just want to make sure that you're aware of the contract changes coming up. We will send out a link relative to that where you can study on your own and download those new forms. So as always, we want to make sure that if you are interested to ask any questions now, if there's anything on or off topic, you're welcome to reach out now, or you could call or email me at any time. So, Victoria?
Perfect. Thank you, Robert. We do have a question here. What is CFPB?
The CFPB is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and that is a new, relatively new entity that is now in charge with governing to make sure that big bad real estate professionals and lenders are not taking advantage of the public. So there are some new rules that are required.
Great. Do we have any other questions? If you do have any, please type those into the questions box so we will be able to see them. Okay, Robert, it looks like this is going to be a short session. Again, we will be sending out the link where you will be able to view the updated contracts. I believe they're just redlined right now. Is that correct, Robert? We don't have the...
It is correct, and the changes are relatively small, but have a giant ramification. So fortunately, you're not going to have to memorize all kinds of stuff on all kinds of pages. I mean, they're relatively small changes, but they have a massive impact. So you do need to be aware.
Yes. Okay. Well, if we don't have any other questions, we will go ahead and end the session. This is recorded, so we will be sending out the recorded version to everyone. Oh, and we do have a question here. Hold on one second. I believe they're typing it in.
Sure.
Okay.
I've got nowhere to go. It is pouring down rain outside.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I am available as long as you need me.
I missed the first part. Can you repeat it? We, um, Robert, we are recording this session, so we will be sending it out to everyone in case you did miss the very beginning. You will have the recorded version of the webinar. Robert, would you like to just briefly describe what you touched base on at the beginning?
Yeah, and I think maybe it was about your social media mastermind, the websites. So, there was a little bit of
Oh,
information
okay.
about that. Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay, great.
yeah, that was, and then, this is the CFPB requirements and the new contracts are pretty much everything that I covered here.
Hmm. Well, I will go over the beginning again really quick. Um, so if you don't know already, you can earn a residual payment simply by referring other agents to Allison James. If you have referred between 1 and 3 agents, you will be paid 10% of the agent's plan fee, and this does include 10% of the transaction fee for Plan Cs. Once you have referred 4 or more agents, this increases to 15% across the board. So if you do have anyone who you would like to refer over to Allison James, please go ahead and contact Jeff Jabora, our National Director of Growth and Development, and he will take care of everything from there. All you need to do is put that agent in contact with Jeff. And as everyone knows, hopefully everyone knows that we have partnered with agentmarketing.com. So we are now providing free agent websites, free property websites, free virtual tours. There's so many things available on that website, and everything is free. So if you have not checked that out yet, I definitely encourage you to do so. Or if you are paying for a website, you no longer need to pay for that. You can transfer the domain name into Agent Marketing. We have a training video, so if anyone would like me to send that out again to you, please let me know. And the other thing that I quickly touched base on was the weekly AJI Tech Corner webinar, which we will be starting this Thursday, August 6th at 1 o'clock for everyone here on the East Coast. It will be no longer than 10 minutes, and I'm going to be showing everyone a new app or tool every week. The first one is really neat. It's called Reportive, and it's a Google Chrome extension. When you download that onto your computer, you will be able to view all of your email contacts, social media accounts, websites. You'll be able to see their picture on the right-hand side of the screen. And if you're not connected with them already on LinkedIn, all you need to do is simply click the connect button, and then you're connected. So I love it. I just started using it a few weeks ago, and most of my communication is through email, which can be hard when you're trying to, connect with someone. You feel like you don't really know them just through email. So having their picture up, it shows their location, what their job title is. It's really, really neat. So I will be hosting this starting this Thursday, and of course I will send out another email with the link to register if you have not received that already. So do we have any other questions?
I guess while we're waiting, if anybody has any other questions, I did think of something else to kind of add on to the branch office thing that I mentioned earlier. I have also seen, and it's popular in the state of Florida, a lot of people are getting kind of fancy with team names, and maybe in conjunction with the branch office where you've got like would just do something generic like the Dolphin real estate team of Allison James or whatever. And so if that's something that you're currently employing or curious about, make sure that you reach out to us to get some guidance on how to properly structure that and make sure that you're not doing anything that's not going to be in compliance with the state law, because there are some special, there's ways to do it and enable it generally to keep it kind of more homogenous, to limiting it to your own name, like your last name, property group or team or whatever. But if you're wanting to kind of do something a little bit more ambitious, more aggressive, involving more people and building a team, definitely reach out to us and make sure that you are doing that in compliance, especially if it's in conjunction with the branch office.
Perfect. And I think that is it for the questions. So Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Again, this session has been recorded, so I will be sending the recorded version out to everyone.
Very good.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.